Hi, I'm Shelley and this is my vlog, The Willow Tree Queen. I'm coming on today to tell you about a few things that I've made recently. You can see my mannequin, a sporting one behind me because I couldn't think of anywhere else to put it, as it's a hanging set of Prosperity Hens. I've got a little bit of video of how to make these, but there's a much better vlog from Pin Cut Sew that I'll also link below for you to go and look at. And the sort of history behind these little prosperity hens I think is lovely, bringing prosperity and all good things into your house, so you can't go wrong. I've just used some chicken wire and some beads that I had. I do need to figure out a better way of hanging it and get a bell for the bottom, but if you're interested, a video of me making these will follow after I've shown you my next couple of things. So as with all new hobbies, there's always new tools that you require, which you didn't need before. So since I've decided to take up quilting, I've needed a whole bunch of new things, including rulers. I was just looking over here because I've got some rulers. So I've got a triangle ruler now, or equilateral triangle, which my husband was quite put out about the price of because it's basically a piece of perspex with some writing on it. And these two grid ones as well. I have noticed though that the numbers on this don't line up, so I am struggling a little bit with, because this looks like it should be a 5x5, but it's actually 6x6. I think that's possibly because it includes like seam allowance. So yeah, so those are my new rulers. And I also bought myself a little ironing mat for doing all of the different quilt blocks. So there's an awful lot of pressing going on with quilt blocks, and I got myself one of these. It's a 10x10 wool quilt block that I got on Amazon. It does smell quite strongly of sheep when you iron it, but it does a really good job though. I think it must do something, reflecting the heat or whatever, but it was definitely worth the money. And I also bought myself another new iron. I was using my little travel iron, but I had seen a few people using these, which is an Anzio. Again, I think it is advertised as a travel iron. It's just this Anzio mini steam iron. It's got a great little handle there, very easy to hold. And there's I bought a silicone pad as well to go with it. And it's got a super long lead, which is really handy. And it is, I said to my husband, though it be small, it be mighty, or fierce. I'm not sure what the quote is, but yeah, it's pretty amazing. So so a couple of new buys for me there for yet another hobby I'm now taking up. So I was pleased though that this one had used up some stuff that I'd had in my stash for a while. So these beads I'd had sitting around from my junk journal days, not being used. So quite happy about that. The other thing that I've been making recently, which is still ongoing, I haven't quite finished it yet, is I discovered improv quilting and the wonky houses. I think I showed on my last vlog a house block that I was making and a little dog that I was going to put into another block. And I have put it together now into basically a street. So I've put a picture up because I'm not going to be able to show you all of it here. But I've basically got an entire street. I did some wonky little stars to go on the end here. And I've got, I think, 5 on each side, possibly 6 on one side and 5 on the other, of these wonky houses and there's a couple of trees. That one came out quite well. My other tree is a bit of a failure. So which one was, so that one was I'm trying to remember now which was my first block. It wasn't one of the white ones. So yeah, so I've got the grey stripe going down the middle, and at the moment I've just zigzagged on a strip of white fabric to be the sort of center line of the street. And then both sides are facing inwards, and it's going to be a table runner to replace this table runner that's in my window that is staying as a window. And I've started to sort of applique and freehand embroider on this. At the moment, I've just folded over the selvage edge and sewed it down because I really like the fringe, but my husband suggested it would look better bound, so I'm probably going to do that. This is a little bit of the back of my freehand embroidery that you can see on those stars there. I was thinking about embroidering the letters of my kids on here. I gave it a try on one of them, as I think you can probably see on there, and I did such a poor job I gave up and just did swirls. And then yeah, I've just been playing around with movement, getting used to the movement of doing the free motion piece on it. I'm sure one of these must be my original, is in the pink. So you can see I've got all different sorts of things, little fox there in a house, and a bunny in that house. Got a that's just, well, Snoopy's flying above a camel there, and Snoopy inside what looks, it reminded me of a beach hut, so that's why I did that one. And that's my other tree that didn't work out so well, and I've sort of done a bit of a swirl on it, and Woodstock is hanging out there in the tree. Oh yeah, here's the little dog, Max, I was told his name is. So there's Max in his little dog house, and there's my original bear. And my plan is to sort of add more embellishment. I've got a few things that I've picked out from some of the fat quarters I had that I can add in here, and some of the trim that I can possibly put in. And I was mentioning to my kids at Christmas, when they're all home, I could put it on the table and we could all just embellish it with embroidery and all sorts on it. And then the other end, I was so pleased with how this worked out. I did a little sunrise, which I just pieced together. It's wonky. I just sort of, I did a panel that was this size in the background fabric of this sort of background fabric, and then I just cut wedges out of it, and then used those wedges as the pattern to cut out other pieces of fabric to then slot into it. And I keep looking at, with these improv quilts, about the sewing curves. So I looked up about how to do the curves to get the sun piece in there so it's sewn in there, it's not appliqued. And yeah, I was really happy how that turned out. So you can see my crazy freehand quilting there on the back of it. So I was doing each sort of sun shaft in a different style, just to get used to doing freehand quilting on my Burnett here that I've got. And so yeah, and so on the other side I've got some more houses. So we've got the tree there with the two kids out of Cat in the Hat there, a little lion with a curtain there, and I put this bird on the top here, and Snoopy and Woodstock in there, and there's some embellishment there, but yeah, and the little dark spooky alley, and then we've got a rabbit peeking out of that doorway, and the thing one or thing two, and the fish from Dr. Seuss books, and there is the Cat in the Hat and Snoopy, and my little wonky stars there on the end. I was really happy with how they came out. So so that is what I've been working on, and I'm really enjoying it. I've still got a fair bit of quilting left to do. I haven't done any around the houses yet, so quite a lot to do. But it is it was wearing me out. So wrangling this, it's, how long is it? I don't know. It's approximately, if I stand up, I know how tall I am. It is, well, I'm 4'10", so this is over 4 foot tall, basically. So yeah, so that's what I've been up to, and then I've backed it with this. What is it called? It's a cotton madras check. That's what it is. I had made a top out of this, but I don't really like it very much. So I don't like the colours. I don't know. The print turned out too big than I wanted. So I've used that as the backing for this little table runner quilt. And the inside is it's a cheap polyester wadding that I got from Amazon. I have bought, actually, because I'm really into this quilting business, and I've got a few blocks on the go at the moment. I have bought proper cotton wadding. So I've got this, which is currently flat packed, but I'm hoping that when I unpack it, it will be a 2 meters by 1.5 meters of natural cotton quilt batting, or 78.7 by 59 inches. So that's come in this tiny little pack. And I don't want to open it yet because I don't want it to puff up and go all over the place. So yeah, so that's what I've been up to this week. And I'm in the process, I've hand cut all of these out of the back quarters that I had, and I'm putting together a new quilt using the, got to get this right, Missouri star pattern. Bear with me while I pick one out. So there's my first block. All of the blocks that I'm picking out have got the same motif in the center, so they've all got the birds and the butterfly in the center, and I'm planning on doing it on point like this, and then putting different blocks in between them. And I've got enough for 9 of these stars, and they're about 13 inches square. So it's going to be fairly big. I don't know if that batting is going to be big enough, but we'll see. Be a proper quilt, that one. So I'm quite looking forward to that. I've just got to figure out how to do the triangles to make it on point. So yeah, so I will put into the video now of how I made these little chickens. And here's some, I'll put a photo up as well of what they look like on the wall. And hope you enjoyed that, and I shall catch you next time. Bye. Here's a very quick demonstration of the Prosperity chickens that I'm working on. This is from a tutorial by Pinkett Sew again. I'll link it down below. But these ones are stuffed, ready to finish off. I've just got to sew up the holes there, and then eventually they will be strung together on top of each other like this. And I've got some fishing wire here that I'll be using to string them. So this is just a 5-pound fishing line. Yeah, it's actually from when my husband used to go fishing quite regularly. So got loads of this, and I've got some beads that I'll be putting in between. These I've had in my stash for ages. I think I got them on eBay or Etsy, one of those two. And I'll be stringing these in between the chickens as I put them together on the string. To make these chickens, again, I do suggest you go to look at Pinkett Sew's tutorial. She makes a much better job of this than I do. These are ones I've got ready to sew up. So I've just got them clipped together with my my little clips here. So you can make these any size you want. These particular ones that I've got here are pre-cut squares that I got off of Amazon when I first started to look at quilting. So I thought I wanted to have a go. So I got some cheap, this is very cheap quality cotton that were pre-cut into 4-inch squares, so 4x4 squares. And all you need to do is to fold it in half diagonally, so right sides together. And then you need a couple of other pieces. So you need a 1x1 inch square, or whatever you like really. But all you need to do is to make sure that it's big enough when you fold it again diagonally, and then again diagonally. So you create a little triangle like that. That will become the beak. So this bit here. And what you do is you put it inside this little triangle that you've created with the raw edges on the raw edges of your fabric, and then you fold that back up, matching up the lines. Get one of your clips and just clip that in place so that you can sew across that using a scant 1/4 inch seam. And then for the tail feathers, so there's a couple of different ways of doing this. This I just put some squares in, some little squares of fabric, and then I cut them after I put it through. And what you can also do is you can get a longer piece of fabric and you can actually roll it up like this. And then you put that into the other end. And what I've been doing is where I've got the sort of center line here, I've been putting the tail feathers there, just slightly hanging over the edge so that most of the tail is on the inside, and then close it up again, matching up my seams, just making sure that that doesn't come down too far. And then again, put a clip on there, and then I will sew from probably here from the nose end. I'll sew across the beak down a little bit. In fact, I'll probably, because this side is longer, I will sew all of this side, go around the corner, stop, cut my thread, leave a little gap, and then start sewing here all the way to the end, and then back stitching at all the stop points. And then when you've done that, you'll have a triangle like this with a small open edge, and you can just turn it right side out and then stuff it with whatever you want to stuff it with. I've actually used some of leftover bits of quilt that I've used from a jacket I made recently that I got off of eBay. So yeah, Pink Cat Sew says to stuff them more than you think you need to. I don't have a lot of stuffing. You could put scrap fabrics, you could put anything inside them really. I'm not going to stuff them too much because I'm a bit worried about being able to push a needle through them to be able to string them. So that's what I'm working on at the moment. I've got 15 plus 2, so 17 that I'll be able to string together. I don't think there is a recommended amount that you need to be prosperous in your household, but I really do like how they look. The only thing I'm missing, sadly, is a bell to go on the bottom. I think a nice little cowbell would have been perfect. So if I find one, I might add that to the bottom. So yes, this is what I'm working on.